examples in nature. So this is something to include in your British reflections when you're thinking about it. So yes, I used to have a sound effect for this. Whenever we're at an MSA meeting and nobody says anything, I have a cricket sound ready. I just play it. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Do you have any tips for procrastination?
For what, sir?
Overcoming procrastination.
Overcoming procrastination. Well, depends what kind of procrastination. Is it like just nothing is actually?
Study, so I go on Facebook.
Okay. One thing that used to be a problem for me. One thing that I did that worked for me, and I do it every now and then, because we always gravitate towards Facebook, is that I deactivated it. And this is a big challenge because you're like, my 1,500 friends, what are they gonna do without me? What am I gonna do without them? So this is it's not easy, but when you do it, a lot of things are gonna happen. You're gonna feel the stars fall from the sky. The earth is gonna shake. No, okay, it's really, you have to deactivate. If you can't, if this is your last resort, like if you can't do anything, really deactivate for a week or a month if you have to. During finals, maybe if you only need to deactivate during finals. If not, something that my friend did is that he changed his password and he gave it to one of his best friends. He created like a random password and he only sent it to his best friend. And his best friend lost the password, so he had to. This is a true story. So this you can do this as well. So if you want to keep your Facebook so that you can accumulate notifications, this is fun. You can do this. You have to be careful to deactivate your wall just for safety. These are true. Like this is a real problem. So, I mean, for me, deactivating is the best solution I find.
It's not Facebook, I go on. Actually, Facebook, then I go on Twitter. I'll just find any way to not study.
Do you want to add to what he said?
Yeah. There's a software called Facebook.
Yeah.
Which allows you to.
There's one called self-control.
What is that?
Yeah. So I was gonna say there's softwares. There's one called Stay Focused and Stay Controlled or Self-Control. So there are softwares that you can download for free that you can actually tell them which websites you don't want to go to, or they limit your time on websites, right? They limit. So you say, I want to spend only 15 minutes on Facebook every day. Now, the thing is, you don't go to the library and try Facebook there, right? This works on your laptop when you download it. So you can use those. This is actually a very good point. Thank you for reminding. Yes?
Something that you actually mentioned, but that really works for me, is that I usually assign myself rewards for if I work a certain amount, I get to watch an episode of Friends or something like that, but just something after a certain set time so that I'm working towards that. So I say after an hour I'll take 10 minutes to, I don't know, either run on Facebook or whatever, but just setting that helps me get towards there, or be motivated to get towards there.
Yeah, that's also setting rewards for yourself. For me, it's more like hot chocolate and stuff. So I'm going to drink a hot chocolate because I deserve one, yes.
Sometimes I think we forget that we can do a lot of our homework without the internet or without having our computer open at all. So what I do sometimes is that I take my laptop and I'll put it in my parents' room, or I'll put it in another room in the house, and then I'll go do what I need to do. And I find that helps a lot because you don't have it at your fingertips, and that helps.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this sounds bad, but you can print a lot of the stuff, and not if you have 1,000 pages, for save the environment. But print some of the things you need. Don't use
Or you want to
inventory.
come studying. You have your notes on you. You don't need Google. You don't need Facebook. You don't need that. So put it away.
Yeah.
If you're like a workaholic, that if you stop working for even 10 minutes, you feel stressed out.
Oof. Well, okay. You mean like you study the whole day and you don't have a problem procrastinating on any of the things that normal human beings?
Work non-stop. If I stop for
Oof.
half an hour, I feel really bad. I have to get back to work.
Oof.
It's to the point where I don't care what I'm doing. I just gotta work.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's okay. If it's really that bad, don't stop working. Okay. But usually try to convince yourself, trick yourself into thinking, if I take a break, I'm going to be more productive when I come back, right? So I'm going to be more workaholic, like, so you kind of have to trick yourself into thinking that. So that's one way. But sometimes you really have to, program a chain to catch your hands for half an hour, and then, I don't know, tame yourself or something. But you have to stop. I know it's bad, but if you can't, I'm not going to say, I don't know, this is, do you have something, Mr.? Yes.
You mentioned that like our brains and our physiology, we need always to have a break at one point. And we're social beings, so you need time to spend with your friends. So if it is a problem that you're working too much, then what you could do is make appointments with your friends to go out watch a movie, and get them to call you and tell you, what, we're gonna go watch a movie right now. Come with us. So that, they stop you from working.
Wow.
Sort of the opposite of what most people are trying to do.
Yeah.
But
Find a hobby or something that you really get interested and look forward to do that's other than work. Because there's always something that you really love doing that's not actually, unless you love your work, then I don't see the problem. We always have to find something to look forward to doing other than stressing out about not working.
I'm reading Einstein's bio, and he's like that. He used to stress whenever he wasn't working. But if you want to stop, there's a difference. Do you want to stop working, or do you stress? You don't want to stop working? Because there's also that, right? If you don't want to stop working, but
I just want to work on meaningful things. So I gotta work, so I'll do anything, any random thing just to be working.
Okay. Well, in that case, you need to prioritize. It's a different problem. You have to first see. Okay, you have to go through those steps. Where you want to go. What are the things that can help you get there? It could be a hobby, like she said, and so it could be a hobby. You could find a hobby that helps you with that. So but you have to know. You really have to go back to the essentials, right? You have to go back to the why, and then how, and then what. That way, whenever you are not working, if you're done, you won't just do anything. You'll do something meaningful. But you really have to go through the steps that we mentioned. That's gonna help you. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
One thing for me, this is a very funny thing, but I listen to the Batman soundtrack to help me stay disciplined. Because whenever I remember disciplined, it really reminds me of that. Again, it's really psychological. We're very psychologically sensitive beings, right? So you have to really, I don't know, put yourself in the. Is it because you allocate less, you underestimate the time you need, or is it because you just don't go through it, or?
Yeah, I'll make my schedule and I'll be okay, from 1 to 2 you're studying this, from
Okay.
2 to 3 you're doing this, and then I'll I guess I get distracted and I don't have enough of those space things that you said.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. And I feel like sometimes I'll just forget the schedule. If I'm late on the schedule, if I didn't do one block, I'll be okay, I'll follow it tomorrow.
Okay. Well, sometimes we get distracted because we're thinking about something else, right? So this goes back to managing priorities. You don't want to think. If you think of something, this is something also that's a disease for me. I'm always thinking about different things. So I always have a notebook with me or my cell phone, and I just write down the idea, and then I stop thinking about it so I can get back to my task. So if you're distracted because of this, because you're thinking about an idea or something that you want to do later and you don't want to forget it, just write it down and then keep working. I just put it somewhere. If it's you're just wandering away. It's I don't know if you study with music, but music really affects. For me, it's when I'm listening to Batman, I'm doing intellectual push-ups or something. It's really we're that sensitive. Yes, sir.
Which Batman soundtrack?
I listen to the one Gotham's Reckoning because to me there's an evil person and I'm trying to be good, so I can. Or it's also Why Do We Fall? There's that track. It's from the most recent one. But try this. You have to really play with your psychological stimuli. That's And again, if you only tried it recently, don't feel bad, because it takes practice. Like it takes time. So don't be too hard on yourself, or do some. I don't know. Whenever you get distracted, yell out something. That you'll force yourself not to be distracted, so you don't have to yell it out so that people don't look at you. Yeah, sorry.
On politely saying no to people, I personally find that hard. Like initially, if some friends call me up, like, okay, let's go out for lunch or dinner or something. I can first say no, but then like, no, come, we have time. And eventually, I would be like, oh well, maybe, and then I'd be yes.
Yes, we have mutual friends, I think. Yes, no, really, it has to be a firm, polite no, not just a no. It has to be. Well, you have to. Well, for me, the best way I found it is to give them another date, right? Tell them, okay, for instance, that they hang out every 2 Saturdays, or I don't know, once every 2 weeks or once a week. Tell them, okay, I really can't make it today because I really have to do this and I've set time for it. I'd love to, and they're like, no, please, like no, and then you say, I'm gonna close my phone, I'm gonna close it, So I don't know, turn it into a joke and say, I'll come, I promise I'm gonna make it next week. But you have to, you have to shift the focus from tonight. Again, you're playing with the psychology. It's all about psychology. Really, you have to be firm. I don't know. It depends on your friends also. Like with some of my friends, I can just say no and say no. Others, I'm a bit shyer. I have to say, no. I'd love to. I'm really sorry. And it's really. But you have to maintain your stance. Don't lose. Hold the line. Yes.
Do you have a strategy for reading like the 7 Habits of Effective People? Because I've tried to read it like a couple of times. It starts getting boring, and then just.
Yeah, some books are boring. This. Okay.
The teenagers one first. It's easier read by his son. Oh.
His son wrote that. You're not a teenager anymore. But one thing about being bored while reading is that sometimes it happens because did you want to read it?
Because, I read a lot, but that
No,
particular
yeah.
book, I find it somehow boring. Whenever I try to read it, I always lose the focus and just forget about it.
Do you want to read it? You don't have to.
Like I've heard about it.
Okay. No, because if you find it boring, you don't have to. I mean, what keeps you going is really to remember why you're reading it, right? If it's because you know that there's tools in there that are really gonna help you, you're gonna swallow the bitterness and go through it. Because I know it's not always fun. It's not like Ken Robinson's books where there's a joke every now and then and you just look forward for the jokes, like the rewards thing. So you can actually you can reward yourself for going through it. That's I don't know. Again, you know yourself better, but you don't have to read books that you don't enjoy.
Is there are there any YouTube videos where they actually try to present the tools that he's trying to present in the book?
There probably are, because this is a very old book and it's very famous. Yeah, I'm sure you'll find. Does anybody? By the way, if anybody has answers for another person, please, because I don't have all the answers. So, yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. If you don't have to read it, if it's boring, spread the boredom.
For example, reading a book, right, and you find it really boring, maybe because what you can do is you can challenge the ideas in the book. You don't have to agree with the author.
Yeah, I don't. Sorry, I don't think he's. She's sorry. She's